I suspect that the reason Mac is calling in is because he had planned this bonus into his household budget. And when the bonus did not come through, he panicked. Good evening, family. All right, we're going to listen to a call called "My Boss Stopped Giving Bonuses." How appropriate just as we go into the holiday season. Thanks so much for being here. Let's hit it.
Brought to you by the EveryDollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
I've worked at a company for several years now, small business, and every year I've been there so far, at the end of our fiscal year, my boss, who wholly owns the company, issues bonuses based on how well the company performed our fiscal year, and I've gotten it every year, like I've said. Now this year, all of a sudden, no bonus ever came. There was never any mention or communication of bonuses not going out this year. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, I see that my boss has bought a brand new car. That's kind of not really besides the point, I guess. But yeah. So my question is, is that ethical / can they do that, not issue bonuses and not even communicate it? And then the two-punch question is, what's the best way to approach that conversation with my boss?
All right, folks, I've already got my opinions about this. You probably have yours as well. Let's do it first, though. We are going to pour that tea. Always so refreshing. So, before they even jump in with their thoughts, please let me share you mine. First off, he says he's gotten a bonus every single year from this small business. Well, kudos to the small business, all right? Because that is a much better deal than what most employees get, especially public service employees. Public service employees, it doesn't matter if you're in education, military, police, whatever. Bonuses, for most all public service employees, they are few and far between. Now, as we know, a bonus is something that is above and beyond your normal contractual rate of pay, whether you are paid hourly or whether you are paid salary. So it seems to me that this company gave a bonus every single year, at least every year that the caller has been working at the job. And the caller, again, this was 8 days ago, all right? So just figure about a week ago, the caller says that all of a sudden this year, no bonus came in their check. I'm assuming the bonus was given probably about this time of year so families could plan their holiday shopping. Now then, and I am just kind of jumping in here because I think in many ways we all kind of have our opinions on this already. Now, the way I see it is the caller says, is it ethical for the boss to not give a bonus when the boss has done it every year? My answer, before we hear the lovely Jade and George's answer, is yes, it is ethical. There is nothing, from what I can tell, biblically, morally, or anything else that says they have to give a bonus. Again, we are talking about bonus.
I mean, in my mind, I'm picturing Clark Griswold when he...
I accidentally hit the wrong key. Again, we are talking about a bonus. To me, there would be an ethical question if it were something like the boss said he was going to pay me $20 an hour. I did the labor. He did not pay me, or he backtracked on that. Okay, that's totally different. Or if the bonus is written in contract, okay, like part of the employee contract and you've signed off on it is employee will get a 10% bonus or, bonus on a pay grade, whatever, based on company profits. If those things are not in existence, those contractual agreements, then a bonus is just that. It's a bonus. You don't make bonuses part of your budget. And I don't want to sound unkind, all right, because I really, I am for employees, but at the same time, I'm also open-minded enough, all right, that I can look at the other side. And it's a little bit on the arrogant side to call in and say, My boss didn't give me a bonus. They've done it every single year. Is that ethical? Yeah, it's ethical. It's totally ethical. I'm not saying it don't suck, but it is totally ethical. Again, we're not talking about something that's in contract. The other thing he mentioned is something about he didn't give a bonus to the employees, but he shows up in a new truck. Good for him. He runs the company. He owns it. He takes the risks, the liability. He deals with the IRS. He's probably worked more hours than anybody else has put together to try to get the company up and running. If this guy has made a company successful enough that he can give a bonus every single year, I'm not even sure if Ramsey gives bonuses to employees. I don't know. I can't really comment about that because I don't know anything about that, okay? But the fact that this guy is self-made, all right, I'm not talking about Ramsey, I'm talking about the caller. The caller's boss, okay? The fact that the caller's boss, and the caller is Mac in Memphis, Tennessee, the fact that Mac's boss has made enough to even be able to give yearly bonuses says a lot about the boss's credibility. Now then, as far as the part, so what the boss wants to do with their money, so what? Okay, I mean, it doesn't matter. If the boss wants to buy a car, get a house, whatever. That's not Mac's, that's the caller, that is not Mac's right to say, whether or not the boss should have done that. The boss has every right. Okay? Somebody could say times are really tough, and then I go to Marshall's and I go buy 5 new dresses, usually about $25-$30 a piece. Well, is that right? I mean, times are supposed to be tough. The other thing, if I'm going to say where the boss probably could have done better, I'm willing to suspect that perhaps the boss could have given employees a heads up that there might not be a bonus this year. That I might have done out of respect. But even so, it's not required as it is a bonus. But if I know I've taken an action that financially impacts employees year after year after year, and I've done this, all right, even though it's a bonus out of courtesy, okay, in this part where we may say, just out of common courtesy, perhaps the boss could have simply sent out a memo that said, to my fantastic employees, I'm sorry, economy is really bad right now. Our family is working on our own personal goals, as I'm sure your family has their goals, and this year there is going to be no bonus. Probably didn't even have to say that much. Technically, all the boss has to do is send a memo and say no bonus this year. So it's really up to the boss to decide how much he or she wants to say. But it is a bit presumptuous of Mac to write in or call in and say, is my boss basically morally bankrupt, ethically bankrupt? I know he didn't use that. I know he didn't use those words, but is my boss basically ethically bankrupt, and probably secretly hoping the boss is bankrupt morally because he didn't give us a bonus? In my opinion, no, he's not bankrupt at all. Could he have handled the bonus situation a little bit better? Yeah, I'd have given the employees a heads up. Very limited information, but like I said, and it's none of Mac's business what his boss wants to show up in. If Mac doesn't like the idea of his boss buying a new truck, then Mac can go buy his own truck. Don't get me wrong, I'm on the worker side, people, I am, but I also have the ability to see the other side, right?
He doesn't get his bonus.
That's exactly how I feel. Yeah, I literally was about to say that. I'm glad you did.
I mean, if you've come to expect it, yeah, it's disappointing if you don't get it, and it's even more disappointing if it wasn't communicated. I could see you wanting that.
There, see, points for me, yay for me. Yeah, it could have been communicated. Not that the boss has to justify it. Let me make this very clear. The boss doesn't have to justify why he's not giving a bonus. That is not, in my opinion, owed to the employees. Again, if it's not under contract, and clearly this was not under contract, so I think we can go with that assumption. This was not a contractual bonus. So therefore, in my opinion, no explanation is owed. But it would be polite. It goes for happier employees, okay? To at least let them know, give them a heads up.
But at the end of the day, my bigger question is, how is the business doing? Because it might be that they're suffering and there's not that profit in order to hand out bonuses as it were. And so that's my first question. And I think that you can strike from the record that he bought a brand new vehicle, because that's neither here nor there.
In other words, it's none of the employee's business. It's no more business. I mean, it would be okay if we really want to get nitpicky, all right, and Mac the caller says, is it ethical for my boss to not give us a bonus? Then I guess we could kind of flip it and say, well, then is it ethical for employees to ask for a pay raise? I told you, I would have made a good politician. Yeah, because I can see both sides of it. But really, if Mac is hoping that the answer was, oh yes, it's totally ethical for you, it's totally unethical for your boss not to give a bonus, then we need to say the same thing and say, well, that's totally unethical for employees to ask for a raise.
But
Sure.
How's the company doing?
Well, as far as I've been, informed, and I'm not in the finance department, right?
Okay, he just said he's not in the finance department, so therefore he cannot be informed. The only information he has is what's gone through the grapevine. Therefore, anything that Mac says about the company is all hearsay. Again, I am looking at both sides. Again, I very much support employees. Look, guys, I'm a public school teacher. Okay? But it doesn't mean I can't look at an employer's position or a business owner's position. I can. And in this case, Mac has his nose kind of button in where it don't belong. Not to say again that Mac, in this case, if the company gives financial forecasts, is Mac paying attention to them? But if Mac has nothing to do with the finance department, he doesn't have any clue as to the actual budget, then God bless Jade. But her saying, well, how is the company doing financially? Well, let me give you some proof that that's a dead-end question. For those of us who are old enough to remember Enron. Remember Enron, that company that went defunct? And that's an understatement. I think it was one of the biggest financial bankruptcies ever. Just a totally defunct company, Enron. Enron, for those of you young folks that may not be familiar with it. Well, they stood literally on a stage, okay, at one of their I think it was at one of the last, shareholder meetings, and they said everything was just wonderful, everything was fine, and they told employees, go buy company stock, and the employees went and literally cleared out 401k accounts, cleared out other accounts from other companies they had worked at, stuck all that money into Enron, and then Enron went belly up. And it turned out it was one massive scam. And I'm not getting into all the politics of it, okay, but I know it really well because I had to write a 4-page paper on it for one of my master's degree programs. But so when Jade, bless her heart, says, well, how's the company doing? What Mac knows is irrelevant. I would trust it less than I would trust the tip of a thimble to keep me from getting bitten by a needle.
Anything like that. We continue to see year-over-year growth every year that I've been there.
Yes, and some of the companies that have been the most sneaky, scammy, unreputable, including Enron, guess what they show? Year after year of growth. They show returns that just are unbelievable. And the entire thing is one big house of cards waiting to fall.
And as far as I can tell, the business seems to be doing well. We recently expanded the office space and blew out a wall and took over the space next door. So,
Enron had purchased other companies during their growth years. Look, all of what Mr. Mackey Mac here says is irrelevant. It's as irrelevant as commenting about why the boss has a new vehicle. It's irrelevant.
Anyway, I guess all the signs that I can point to show,
Was that part of it? Is they had to reinvest in the business and therefore the bonuses went toward those goals?
He don't know, dear George. He has no idea. We're asking the wrong person. Okay? It's like asking the mailroom guy if everything's going great in the cafeteria. Oh, well, I guess it is. The food's tasty when I go in. Well, yes, but is the cafeteria performing under or around budget? I guess. Every time I go to the cafeteria, we eat chow. It might be stretching it, but yeah, I think you see what I'm trying to say. We're asking the wrong people because a deep part of us really, really hopes that the company is doing okay, and maybe the boss was just being a greedy miser this year. Maybe the boss figured out, you know what, it's time for me to buy a truck. I've given bonuses to the employees every single year. Again, the only fault I would give is I think it should have been communicated. Just a simple 2-line note. There will be no, bonus this year, blah, blah, blah. And then maybe the boss could throw in like, a holiday, buffet or something. You know what I mean? So like a feel-good thing.
Potentially. But that being said, I think to someone like myself who's an employee who's not involved in, the big time decisions like that,
Here's
you
what
see
I
all
think.
these things we're spending money on, and then all of a sudden when it comes time that I'm expecting my little bonus, I don't get it.
How much?
Whoa. Now, I don't talk politics on this channel. I consider myself a moderate Democrat with a touch of Republican. Just an ever so slight touch, but that's really no secret. He is budgeting his life as though the bonus is expected. You never ever budget bonuses into your base pay. Even my little part-time job, my little child care job, and trust me, it don't bring in much, all right? That's not budgeted into my paycheck. I could decide I don't want to do it anymore, and nothing would change in my budget except maybe my YouTube channel will have to wait on that, camera that I want. But as far as my standard cost of living, my saving my $20,000 a year starting in January 2025 for retirement, none of that is based on my school bonuses. None of it is based on my child care, because I consider that actually be bonus money. So I don't care, I make a couple $100 a month with child care. Like I said, it's not much. And if I want to piddle that away on my YouTube hobby, I can. If I want to piddle it away on, I want to go buy clothes at Bell's and I want to drop, $200, okay, fine, I can. Because it's not budgeted as part of my base pay. And I've known people that budget bonuses as part of their base pay. In fact, one person I know that lives out of state, when she visited, she and I, a couple of us went out and had lunch together, and she was very upset, just like Mackie Mac here. Don't ask me why I'm calling him Mackie Mac. I just feel like it. Mac here in Memphis, Tennessee, okay? Just like Mac here in Memphis, Tennessee, she literally, because she also got the bonuses, and she goes, we're not getting a bonus this year. She could have been the person calling in. And I said, well, okay, that sucks. Don't get me wrong, it sucks, all right? But I said, it's the company's right not to give one. And just like Mac here, it's a small company. And she goes, and this was her exact quote. Yes, she goes, I know it's the company's, choice to give one or not, but, and I quote, these employees rely on it. They've put it into their budget. And I literally said to her, well, then those employees are budgeting wrong. You are budgeting wrong, in my opinion, if you budget your bonuses before they have been given to you, all right? Before they've been given to you. If you are budgeting those bonuses into your spending calendar for that month, you're doing it wrong. I only budget a bonus after it's in my hand. Until then, it's all things go as planned without the bonus.
How much of a bonus are we talking, by the way?
Yeah.
Last year it was $10,000.
Okay. That's deep.
And that's a good sized bonus. And I would say my friend was expecting about the same. Okay. They got quarterly bonuses for the industry that they worked in, which I will keep anonymous. All right. But they got quarterly bonuses. And by the time the bonuses add up by the end of the year, it came to about 10,000. I can tell you what Mac did here. Mac was planning on the bonus. And the reason Mac is calling in, I suspect, because as you know, I hear these calls for the very first time with you, all right? I suspect that the reason Mac is calling in is because he had planned this bonus into his household budget. And when the bonus did not come through, he panicked. Because if he had not planned the bonus as part of his household budget, if he had not, already spent it, in essence, before the bonus came, he'd have no reason to call in. mean, he could call in and say it sucks that my boss didn't give us a bonus, but he wouldn't be calling in with this financial panic. And the other reason I think he most likely pre-planned this bonus, he's being very attentive to what his boss is buying. Forget what your boss is buying. Go buy what you buy. Okay, there are people at work that can afford a whole lot nicer wardrobe than I can. Hands down, they can afford a much nicer wardrobe than I can. I afford what I can buy. I don't spend time worrying about what other people are buying. All right? So in this case, the fact that he's being so attentive, well, my boss bought a new car, and then they're trying to do all this hypothetical stuff about, well, what's the shape of the company? Who knows what the shape of the company is? Mac has as much information on the shape of the company as you and I do. So this tells me that Mac had already spent the bonus money before it even hit the bank.
Decent.
And what's your salary?
$90,000 a year.
Okay, so that's a big chunk.
I think,
Yeah.
you're asking, is it ethical? Yes. If they want to say we don't give bonuses anymore, yeah, that's their prerogative. What I think really is the problem here is the communication within the business.
But even the communication problem, yes, he should have communicated, but I want to make really clear, and again, I can reach my hand across the aisle. The boss is not, in my opinion, required to communicate it to the point that the employees are totally satisfied and happy. Because in reality, that's never going to happen. All right? If you have employees who mismanage money, who jump to budgeting for the bonuses before they've hit the bank, who bought items based on what they thought was going to be a bonus, and then that bonus didn't come through, that's not the employer's fault. That's the employee's fault. I can tell you that every single time, we teachers are, sometimes, we're going to get an extra $1,000. And I'm like, yay, but I ain't doing nothing with it till it actually hits the bank. And then I take off taxes as well. So I factor in all this stuff. So I know if they say teachers are getting $1,000 bonus, I know it's really not 1,000. It's going to be closer to about 700. And then I know it could take a very long time for us to get it. But that's another story, irrelevant on this channel. But the bottom line is, I wait until it's actually hit my bank account. If an employee chooses to spend money that has not yet been made under some sort of, contractual agreement, this is your hourly pay, full time, whatever, and chooses to jump ahead, put the cart before the horse, and spend that money, that is not on the employer, that's on the employee.
I think that's what's really caused an issue here, because I think if you can approach things with people up front and say, here's what's going on, here's what we're going to, I know here at Ramsey, everything is just laid out on the line all the time. We're always having staff meetings. It's very clear what the goals are. It's very clear what's going to happen.
Here's what the profit sharing is going to be next month.
Yeah.
And so there's no surprises. Yeah. So really what's happening here, it's just poor leadership, poor communication.
And I would agree with that, but we also have to reserve, family. What would happen if there had been a profit? Which we don't know. But let's just say, and this sounds like a privately owned company, let's say the employer decided, I've been very generous. Let's face it, guys. First off, he's paying his employees around $90,000 a year, so that's certainly not chump change. Plus, he's giving them bonuses of $10,000 a year for however long. Maybe the husband just decided, you know what, my wife and I want to take some time. We want to remodel the house. We want to get a truck. This is the year for our turn, which is totally fine. I'm not saying this doesn't suck. Don't get me wrong, okay? Nobody wants to be told they're not getting a bonus, but guess what? Public workers, we deal with it all the time. All the time, okay? Including furlough days at times where we don't get paid, yes. So living this life, this is living La Vida Loco, or whatever that song is, okay? This is pretty good. If he's making $90,000 a year and he's got a solid household budget and he understands money, well, this is disappointing. It's not financially devastating. But me suspects that there might be some budget mismanagement. I'm just suspecting. I don't know how severely. I just suspect it. Because to a household that is run with a solid savings account, living well underneath their means and stuff, it'd be like, well, honey, it's the first time in 5 years we're not getting our $10,000 bonus, but no problem, because we made sure that Christmas was planned based on our actual income. We're not going to go out and buy new drapes for the den until we know that the bonus is here. So I question his financial dealings within his own household if he's kind of panicking. This to me is like a panic call.
It's not unethical. It's not immoral. Because they could shut the whole business down today, and that's their prerogative.
That's right.
And so, I wouldn't get too, get in a tizzy over this or take it personally. But
he already did take it personally. That's what he's calling in, hoping we'll all say, "Oh yes, it's horribly unethical."
I would, in your next one-on-one with your leader, say, hey, can I get some clarity on what happened with the bonuses? I noticed that didn't happen this year. And
the boss has the right to simply say, my wife and I simply decide, I don't know if he's married or not, whatever, okay, but, as the head of this organization, we simply decided this year to put the money back into the company. And we thought for the long-term growth of our company, which also includes keeping you guys on board, we needed to reinvest back in the company. Now, what's Matt going to do if he doesn't like it? Well, that's a horrible decision. Well, then, Matt, go find another job. Like I said, there's almost no answer the boss is going to give that any employee is going to like. But the boss should, in my opinion, perhaps, do a little, heartfelt apology, even if it's not truly heartfelt. All right, come on, folks. Everybody's apologized for something. We all know at times you didn't mean it, but you did it because it's good PR, right? But a little, thing about we should have, I apologize. I didn't mean to put you through this stress. I should have communicated that there would be no bonus earlier, but now you understand there is no bonus. And I would, seriously, if I were the boss, I would simply say we are reinvesting it back into the company because it helps ensure your job and the growth of the company. Yay.
It wasn't rolled out to the team. And if they can't answer that or they get dodgy, then you got to go, can I trust this place? Because if they lose integrity and you lose trust, it's time to go.
And then he can go find himself another $90,000 a year job with a $10K bonus. Good luck with that. Remember, this ran just 8 days ago.
That's just going to plant a seed of resentment in your heart. But it could just be, oh, dang it, you're right. We should have been more clear about that. And it could have been
How big
just
is
a
the
brain
company?
fart.
How big is it?
About 20 employees, small business.
Oh, so I feel like there would be even more I could
are
see
all your
things...
coworkers talking about this? This has got to be the water cooler talk.
Yeah. This is definitely kind of the water cooler talk.
And we also have to remember, we don't know what's going on in the company's private life. We have no idea. Maybe the couple's getting ready to separate, and they know that they're going to need every dime at this point. Maybe the company is trying to do an aggressive expansion, and they're not ready to announce that to employees. There are so many things that could be going on.
No doubt about it.
And no one has bothered to ask leadership.
So here's the funny thing is we have obviously a management kind of structure, if you will, hierarchy. And I approached both the two, upper level managers who both kind of deferred me and said, that's the boss's decision. I have no say in that. So kind of, and like I said, the business is wholly owned by one individual. So they kind of both.
With 20 employees, I imagine you interact with the CEO.
Yeah, every day.
Is it okay?
Could you set up a meeting with him?
Yeah, just ask.
Or her?
Yeah, I definitely could. I think it's just kind of like I said.
But what are you going to ask in the meeting? I guess you could set up a meeting. Okay, you have a question, that's fine, but he needs to be really careful that he doesn't go into the meeting sounding like the boss owes him answers. You feel me on that? The meeting has to be done with, hey, I just wanted to blah, blah. Okay, nice, sweet. Oh, okay. All right, well, I was just, kind of concerned, wanted to make sure, I'm doing my part to help the company. Whatever, okay? The guy's being paid almost $6,000, being paid close to 6 figures a year. That is a coveted position.
This is the water cooler talk, and I figured I
think I would own up and go, listen, this has been floating around. I don't want this to turn into gossip, but people are going, hey, what happened here? And I think it would be a great move for there to be communication around this.
Yeah. And then tell him if you don't give me the answer that I'd like, I'm taking it to social media. All right, folks. I'm going to attach at the end here. I will put up, what shall we put up today? Let's put up one TikTok, and let's put up another story down here. I don't know what it'll be, but we'll figure it out. Don't forget to subscribe. Family, my time is up, and so is yours. Good night, everyone.